Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for June 7th through 11th, 2021. Well, we're just a couple of days away from this massive solar eclipse energy in Gemini. The energy around this eclipse and this eclipse season and this whole time we're in is trying to come into an alignment with our greater, bigger truth, destiny, humanity, the divine timeline. We've been in such a strange time, and the energy of this Mercury retrograde in 3 weeks in square to Neptune in Pisces, speaking to our perception, our reality, delusions, programming, enlightenment. We are just all over the place with all of this mutable energy. Everything speaking to the fact that we need a massive adjustment. Now, it's really interesting for supernova souls because what seems to be happening is a feeling with this current astrology of being trapped in a reality that doesn't quite fit you. I know this is like how you felt this whole evolution, actually, right? Like you've had to squeeze yourself into this reality. And the Piscean Age, we're having a bloom of the energies of the Piscean Age. The Piscean Age was defined by massive mystical revelation of a direct contact to spirit and source and messages around the fact that we are that. And then the control energies that have been in power since Atlantean time, clamping down on that light through religious structures. Now, all of this is written in this story on the wall right now in this astrology. We're having this massive bloom of the Piscean Age. We're examining our authority contracts. We are looking at the whole story and what in the heck, how did we get here? What are we doing? And where it's bringing us now, when things get really strange, like in these times, because we're in between eclipses, Mercury retrograde, square Neptune, reality, nothing is as it seems. Nothing is as it seems. And this is this feeling of seeing through the lower play, seeing through the Maya, that this reality is so weird it can't even be true. That's the ticket out of the matrix. Now, this is also corresponding with this feeling of being compressed or pushed down into too low of a timeline, stuck in a place that's like there's nothing vibrationally resonant, and yet there you are. Now, this is bringing up powerful feelings for the supernova soul around the Piscean Age of being persecuted for your light. If you showed up in this last era on Earth, which if you're here at this shift of ages, then you were here at the last shift of ages. But what played out was this attack and oppression of that light. So right now we're having a bloom of this energy, especially because Mars is an exact opposition to Pluto. Mars is power, Pluto is power. Mars is raw nature power in Cancer, the power of nurturing, the power of life itself, the waters. And then in opposition to Pluto in Capricorn, which is structures of power and fear of our own power. And so it's bringing up this feeling that I feel like supernova souls are coming up against right now because of these strange times where it's like, I'm stuck inside a mobile, right? Like, how the hell did I get here? What am I doing here? And seeing and feeling this level of oppression, like, am I being punished here? Did I get sent to, like, did I do something wrong? I've been condemned to, like, be stuck in this frequency vibration that doesn't fit who I am. Maybe this experience is exactly about that, showing you who you really are. So much more than this, right? So the story just if we look at this energy of like, oh, this huge mystical revelation of the Piscean Age, then those that were representative and working with this energy of the light of truth were punished and called the darkness, persecuted, right? And the Piscean Age became about survival. If you wanted to be on Earth as a light worker, you had to turn it down. You had to be away from your people. You had to pretend you weren't connected to the light. You had to do it behind the scenes, and keep the hidden teachings and all that. And so it's, this is the energy that we're coming up with. This combination of astrology is so alchemical right now. And the Neptune transits make us want to just escape reality, but don't check out for this because it's so incredibly powerful. Because it's time to go from survive to thrive. And that's what everything is happening now. It looks like on the surface. And if you go just below the surface, this medical tyranny and poison injection seems to be going directly against life itself. But what's really happening is that humans are taking it to a new level, right? The control energies that have kept us serve to hold back this evolution, want to keep us in survival mode, in trauma and drama and fear. That's survival mode. That's root chakra. That's like you can never get, you got to deal with your core level security before you can come into your God-given rights expression. The power within you of your individual expression of God consciousness. How can we come into our co-creation status when we're stuck in survival mode? Right? And this is all on the table right now. An incredible frustration and deep vulnerabilities and sensitivities and emotions around being held back in your truth. With Venus coming into square with Chiron in Aries, Venus in Cancer. So we've got Mars and Venus are masculine and feminine, both in Cancer, speaking to the power of nurturing and the need for nurturing. And feeling held and cared for. How can we thrive if we're disconnected from source? So it's really weird because everything's seeking to disconnect us from our source, just to disconnect this human soul, because that's how you can feed on the energy of the human is if all of the mind control programs, the medical tyranny, the psychological big pharma disaster is all about, with addictions and everything. It's like all about disconnecting us from our soul essence, from our body, because that's how you can use the energy of the body. See, the body, and aware soul in a human body is the most powerful force of the universe. And here we are playing small. Survival mode. Why? Because we bought in that there's something outside of us more powerful than who we are. And it's a lie. It's over. That's what this whole shebang is all about. This whole drama right now. Because it's like, oh, we're getting sicker. We need this thing to protect us from getting sick. And we got to get, all be scared of, and it's like, humans are getting healthier. We're shedding all disease, shedding off all the ideas of who you thought you were, all the old stories, and maybe we got to go down to that lowest denominator timeline and be there for a little bit. But you're not getting punished. See, this Mars opposite Pluto is this feeling of like being there's like condemnation, punishment, retribution for your power, for who you are, and that this feeling of that's coming up of being like, get me the hell out of here. I know I'm so much more than this. And I just allowed myself, I bought into this, that me as this big advanced aware being is supposed to put up with this bullshit and play small and pretend that I don't have my own connection, my own divine right to power, and this feeling of being oppressed And that's kind of an energy that can help us break out of the trap. It can help us claim our autonomy. And it's so good because this Gemini eclipse seems to be about a landing home of the divine timeline. Are you getting on that train? The bus is coming by, right? Like, are you getting on? And so this astrology is all about everything keeping us from that, which is this. So it's so powerful because Venus and Cancer, nurturing, mothering, caring what makes us feel good and safe, and that's in square attention to Chiron and Aries, wounds over where we gave our life force away, you know? So it's that feminine going deep into that place of victimization and, oppression, and like, just like, time to turn the tables, time to flip the tables. No more in my house. No more. I'm not playing the shame game, right? And it's so wild because we also are coming into the final Saturn square Uranus. In this, they've never come out of square since January. And their exact was in February, and now another exact in June. And Saturn is trying to figure out the new reality, the new rules in the Aquarian age. In square to Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, in Taurus. So it's coming back to this key issue we've been working on with Black Moon, Lilith, and Taurus, and Uranus and Taurus. It's like, okay, so here we are on the precipice. Say there is this divine timeline landing. Say this is spiritual ascension. What in the heck is keeping us from moving into that higher vibrational reality? And this is the need for a revolution of wealth. For Supernova Soul, it's your revolution of your wealth. And recognizing that there's nothing more powerful than you, and standing up in your power of light and truth and owning it and living it and breathing it. Now, this is a shift because it's like going from this place of feeling victimized by this reality, which I can feel it in the collective energy of these advanced souls. Like, what the hell? Get me out of here. Like, how much torture am I supposed to take? Because you're feeling what's going on in the collective consciousness. The disconcerting feeling of things just not adding up. But it's like, are we done playing victim to, like, oh, we came here because this is the Piscean Age story. We came here to be martyrs, a sacrifice, and no more survival mode, right? So once we know our internal wealth, we have this revolution of the wealth of who we are in our power. That's what's required to get onto that higher timeline, to feel we deserve it. Do you deserve the wealth that you are? Do you deserve this amazing power? You have been stuck. You've been quarantined. You've been in the straitjacket. You've been in survival mode for far too long. And now, in order to complete your purpose here, to play your role, and maybe that's the shift of like, oh, I'm not stuck in this lower timeline because I'm being punished, or I did something wrong, or I'm not good enough, or I have to figure something out. It's just, you're playing your role. And we got to go there and give ourselves permission to fly out. And maybe it's almost like I'm seeing this picture of like flying out of that lower matrix reality by seeing through the truth and owning your bigger truth and dropping all these authority contracts and low self-worth issues, and just shooting on through. And it's almost like it creates a little portal through the veil, and that allows these other souls to see the way out. So you got to go all the way down there to the lowest denominator timeline, pick up all the pieces of you, all those old stories. Now, this is the deal. There's a purge happening, right? A karmic purge, an ancestral cleansing, like dropping away of all the components of ill health and disease, coming out of that survival mode and into thrival mode. But there's this feeling of like, how can I let go? This is all I've ever known. So I see it's false. It doesn't fit me, but there's nothing to catch me. I'm just nothing. I'm just left alone here, abandoned in between time and space and the wrong timeline, and help somebody, and this is the energy of this Gemini eclipse. It's like a landing home of the timeline, something to catch us. Okay, so what is a timeline? What does this even mean? What's a timeline alignment? What is a timeline? And the definition that's come forward for supernova souls and the work we're doing here is a vibrational frequency. Okay, so now part of the problem, part of what's been so hard for you as an advanced soul in this human evolution is that you have an ability to work in multiple dimensional frequencies and timelines. Aren't you lucky? And you've been doing this, and this is why life is so weird. Yet you can only access this one, maybe lowest denomination, because you got to go back to the root, and we got to reprogram from the root. And so these this energy, but the key out, Chiron is a key, and this Venus square Chiron is so important because Chiron in Aries, it's your life force, it's your power. Stop playing small. Stop playing the victim. Stand up in your truth. And but this energy of, okay, why life has been so weird for you and why you feel so intense right now is because you can exist in multiple frequency dimensions. You're stuck down because you're playing a role, and you got to go to the lowest denomination. Anywhere, any part of your psyche is stuck in the lowest, densest dimensional timeline, right? And there might be contracts with people there, souls that are there that you're resolving, right? But then because of who you are and the whole definition of who you are means that you can hold a vibrational frequency of a different timeline, the highest timeline. Maybe they cancel, like it's all merging into one, right? And so while you're in the depths of this shedding process and the psychic purge and getting clarity and meeting who you are behind the scenes, you're meeting yourself. You've been the actor playing a role, but who the heck are you? Take the mask off, right? Shed the skin, shed the false conditioning and programming. And that is this energy of this eclipse, is this divine timeline. Vibrate there. Recognize and observe that you may be stuck inside whatever's playing out, and that, but your power lies in the fact that you can hold a vibrational frequency. Now, this is tricky because the energy that's coming forward, as I say, that's like, well, I'm trying, and I just get sucked back down in, and I'm all alone, and I don't know even what I'm doing, and what are you even talking about, and what is this power, And the knowledge and awareness that you're playing a role right now and exactly where you need to be, but that what you're learning about yourself and discovering as we take these masks off and shed the skin is that you have this massive ability to hold a vibrational frequency of what's possible, right? But we haven't been able to move into this energy because it's like such a huge leap. And it feels like on your way there's nothing to catch you. And this is the shift of this Gemini eclipse. It's like it's coming into orbit. The spaceship is coming into orbit. You can jump on now. And maybe that's part of this uncomfortable Mars opposite Pluto, Venus square Chiron. It's a lot of uncomfortableness because you've got to get there. You got to get uncomfortable before you can drop all that old bullshit and release those contracts, release those responsibilities, and show up in the vibration of bigger possibilities, because that's who you are. That's why you came. And so it's time to thrive. Now that we can get a sense of what can catch us in the new energies. And you're here to lead the way. And I know it's messed up because you feel like you're being smushed like a little bug in a corner, right? But maybe that's the pressure you need to sprout your seed, your star seed, and come back into who you really are. And that's this eclipse. Stay present because much is being revealed. And it's being revealed on an intimate level of your connection to something greater beyond what you could imagine that you have within you. It's like a coming to terms with all the roles you've been playing, which aren't true to who you are, and then still feeling stuck in a role, you know? It's a huge culmination because we've got the sun, moon, and Mercury together for this eclipse in square to Neptune. This blooming of the Piscean Age of distortions, a bloom of the fog and the mist, so that you can see it's fog and mist. You thought that it was a backdrop of reality. And so, wow, because Mercury retrograde is trying to rearrange. And Gemini, we've got this huge energy of the voice and empowerment, of problem solving, mastermind, get us out of the trap, right? And that's this energy of this, like a light coming in, a comet coming in, this divine timeline coming in and picking you up if you're ready. And so this makes a mutable T square not too far out of the south node in Sagittarius. I mean, excuse me, not south node, but the Venus is activating the nodes because Venus, well, okay, so sorry, so the um the galactic center is at 26 degrees Sagittarius. And so it's not too far out. As the sun and the moon come out of this new moon eclipse, they're going to move into a relationship with the galactic center in Sagittarius. And that's about our destiny. So there's a huge energy of like your destiny is calling. There's so much bigger. There's so much more. How about you validate this sense of depression, hopelessness, this feeling of being trapped? How about you validate that? Because you couldn't feel that unless you were so much bigger and so much more. You couldn't feel this oppression, right? Those on other timelines, they're just moving through life right now. You're feeling all of it because you've got something bigger to be and do and express here. And that's this Gemini energy. It's enlightened leaders coming forward with a voice, a brand, a mission, purpose, leading us into this new age, and the destiny, the activation of a greater destiny. And when you're working in that energy of expression and co-creation, like all that other bullshit, lower vibrational emotional games that they're using to keep us disempowered, that goes away because your attention is on the life force, on the thriving. And so are you ready to make that leap from survival mode to thrival mode, to hiding and playing small and getting through, to like, okay, okay, I don't know what it means. I'm meeting myself for the first time, but I'm ready to fricking express this because I can't play small anymore. And so just such incredibly powerful astrology and all. So we've got, now it's really interesting because we've got this, Neptune, Venus, excuse me, the sun, moon, Mercury, all in square to Neptune. And then, so that's a mutable square. We've got Saturn square Uranus, that's a fixed square. And then we've got a cardinal square with Venus square Chiron in Cancer. So we have an activation of all the cardinal signs are the starters, the instigators. We're starting a new relationship with our own life force and our own permission for life force. And then we've got the mutable energy of adjusting our whole psychic reality. We're undoing thousands of years of programming and DNA manipulation and disease and distortion on a genetic level. To complete rearranging on a psychic, mental, spiritual level, and all about coming back into service, the spiritual service. So our spiritual destiny and purpose is coming into alignment, that divine timeline. And then we've got the fixed square, and the fixed is like the completers, the leaders, the stability of completion of holding a paradigm, right? And so really powerful because the squares give us that tension we need to change and shed the skin, right? But then we've got these amazing sextiles and semi-sextiles as all the planets are lining up in the signs, because we've got the North Node, South Node at 10 degrees, Venus at 10 degrees Cancer, and Saturn not too far out at 13 degrees Aquarius, Chiron at 12 degrees Aries, Uranus at 12 degrees Taurus. So this is that star pattern. And it's like, there's just so many transits going on, so much to talk about. And so we've got every element represented, right? Because we've got Chiron in Aries, we've got Uranus and Taurus, and Pluto in Capricorn, we've got Gemini, North Node, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Gemini in air signs, and Saturn in Aquarius in air. And then we've got water, Venus in Cancer, Mars in Cancer, Mars coming to the end degrees of Cancer. This is our last push of the power of nurturing to push us over the edge and into this new reality. And that square, opposition with Pluto. And so all the elements are represented, all the, mutable cardinal fixed signs. We've got a million different transits going on, 3 major squares, and a solar eclipse aligning up. So eclipses are this lining up energy with the nodes of the moon, meaning the outer orbit of the moon, and then all lining up. And then that's when the solar eclipse, the sun going over the moon. I mean, the moon going over the sun, flying out the sun, right? So lining up, clarity, things being hidden and revealed. And it feels like this, like, wait a minute, I'm in a movie because I just met the actor backstage and he's not in his same role as he is on stage. So it's got to be a play, and it's time to go backstage and meet who you are and take the mask off, shed the skin, and claim. What's really happening in the situation is humanity. This is the technological health issues, the transhumanism, the infection with nanite technology and microchips and all this that's going on is giving humanity an opportunity to overcome all disease, to overcome all programming. It's our only way forward. And that's exactly the divine timeline. That's you in your full expression, you in your co-creation potential, you thriving. So are you ready? And so I hope that you'll consider joining me for a soul group session. This is a group intuitive session for the eclipse. The group intuitive sessions are an intuitive session looking at past life energies of the whole group, like something that fits the whole group. Really interesting. So we don't know what's going to come up, but the energies in the astrology are about breaking those authority contracts. No more playing small for nobody. Breaking those contracts with your family loyalties, going to the lowest denominator, we're down to the hell realm. Shed that skin, be a witness, invite your whole family out of its misery. And so anyway, we've got authority contracts, ancestral contracts, potentially timeline alignment for sure. Soul retrieval opportunities typically come with that. And so we'll be looking at these shared past life pictures of who shows up in the group, whether you can be there live or not. The energy is live. It's working outside of time. So you can catch that soul group session and get the clarity, information, guidance, clearing, healing, alignment, connection with your soul group. So huge. And so that's available there. And that is going to be Wednesday, the 9th at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. That's exactly 12 hours before the exact solar eclipse. And so we'll be able to really establish a vibrational energy and this anticipation This Neptune transits are bringing anticipation feeling. How about we get out of the trauma and the nightmare of the Piscean age and go back to that shift of ages, mystical revelation, this anticipation of the light returning into our lives. And maybe that is the energy of this, that, the definition of a timeline, a vibrational frequency. So that seems to fit the divine timeline, the cup of God, the fullness and wholeness and completeness of who you are fully expressed. And back to the divine right of, that we know who we are. And it's so much more than what we've been told. And the giant standing up and breaking free of the strings and ropes that have held him down. And so hopefully you can join that soul group session as we jump on that light ship of the divine timeline, invite that in, be in the spiritual mystical revelation, back in the magic of why we even bothered coming here, not to be punished and ridiculed, exiled, cast aside, rejected. And you played all that out in the Piscean age. This doesn't fit who you are. You were playing a role. You're still playing a role. But now it's time to play the role closer to who you are, meet who you are backstage. So hang in there, be present with these energies. It's so powerful because when we have all the elements like this, so many transits going on, it's an alchemical moment, right? It's almost like we can jump out of the whole story of the zodiac for us, and rewrite the archetypes in a new language. And it feels like that's exactly what we've been doing in 2021, is kind of redefining all these energies of what it means in the Aquarian age. And that's definitely the Saturn square Uranus energy. And it means your wealth, your worth, and standing in that light and owning it. And knowing you deserve more. And doing right by your precious gift of spiritual light that you've worked for so many whole evolutions and lifetimes. And do right by this light now. Nurture this light back into existence. This is this Cancer, the power, the raw power of nurturing. And Venus in Cancer, in that star pattern, the empowerment, nurturing ourselves back into feeling that we deserve the light, the thriving, the full expression, what life is meant to be. This is what you hold in your DNA. You hold that piece of the puzzle, that original vision of what Earth wants to be. You were there. So that's the divine timeline. So time to break free and stand in that power of the light and truth and life force and take it to the next level. We didn't come through all this to fumble at the 1 yard line, right? And it's going to be glorious. And hold that vibration. Be where you're at. Be present where you're at. Be that observer of the disease and distortion, but hold the vibration of what's to come and the bigger, wider truth of who we really are in conscious, aware beings in a physical body. Amazing. So I look forward to seeing you on the next update or at that supernova soul group session for the eclipse. I hope you have a wonderful week and be present, and just blessings and prayers for all of us to step back into the light together and move it, take it to the next level from survive to thrive. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.